Joining me today is my stunning friend of over 2 decades, Nazanin. We're recreating Kevyn Aucoin's iconic tribute of Audrey Hepburn in his book, Face Forward. We've also got Rico here to lead on some serious hair. Let's get this glamorous show on the road.
So here's the scoop. We're channeling Audrey's timeless chic. Think Breakfast at Tiffany's meets modern LA. Main inspiration was Kevyn Aucoin's version in his book, Face Forward. It's all about elegance with an edge, accentuating natural beauty.
So I'm gonna start off by doing Nazanin's brow, and I'm gonna use the color soft brown. I'm gonna use a darker part. I'm using this angled liner brush. Audrey's brows were a little bit more like square in the front, and I'm gonna cheat the shape, and instead of following the hair pattern, I'm just gonna go a little higher than what her natural hair pattern is, because we're gonna come back in a little bit with a concealer and clean that up. Now I'm just gonna grab a spoolie and I'm brushing them up, just so I can see what the direction of the brow is going in. So I'm using a softer color just to kind of map out the shape. And then I'm gonna come in with a little bit of a deeper color, maybe like chocolate, just on the outer part to really build the depth. But by doing a softer color, I'm able to like manipulate the shape of the brow without committing to it right away. You can see like I'm gonna basically cut that part out right there. So now I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills pomade in the shade Chocolate. I'm gonna make sure that I really am packing it into the bristles. Now I'm just coming in here with the pomade and I'm just reinforcing the end of the brow just so it starts to take a little bit more shape and structure. And the reason why I'm using a pomade is because it has a little bit more pigment and it just is a little bit more dense in the application. So as you guys already know, I depot my palettes, and this is the RCMA Shinto palette. This is the shade number Shinto 3. I always like to make sure that I pack the product really well into the bristles so that I get the most even application. Start to carve out the brow. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna basically start carving first from the arch. I'm not gonna bring it all the way through because I don't wanna highlight the inner part. I liked how blocky Audrey's natural shape was. For me, I'm leaving the brow a little bit longer. I feel like Audrey's shape was straight out but short, and I'm doing it a little bit longer on the end so it creates that snatched effect. Anytime your brows are longer, it kind of pulls the eye line farther out. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just basically coming on the top of the brow and I'm just kind of cleaning that up a little bit. And what this does is it kind of just reinforces the shape a little bit more. So this color is a little bit closer to your skin color. It's not as light, because the goal here is not to create lift. It's just more to clean up the shape and give it a little bit more definition. So I used Urban Decay's Slick Brow just to basically anchor her hairs down to her skin as much as possible. This is a product that I just recently discovered. It's Solmage. She put me onto it. And it's so good because as you guys can tell, it really like locks the brows onto the skin. And then this will allow me, once it dries, to come in with a powder and a concealer to like clean that area up, and there won't be any texture that's gonna show up as much. So I'm gonna use a little bit of this Rose Medium from William Tuttle. I like it because it has that pinky undertone, which is gonna help with highlighting. I'm just gonna bring a little bit more vibrancy. So I'm gonna start by putting that at the height of the brow bone. And then I'm going to put some on the inner corner of her eye. I brush that color all the way through. I'm gonna leave the crease a little bit untouched because I'm gonna come in with some deeper shades to sculpt. So I don't want to completely cancel that out because I feel like when I do that, the pigments that I want to build don't grab as intense because it's being drowned out by the lighter shade underneath. And I'm just gonna leave it a little unfinished because what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna come back with a little bit of a setting powder to kind of lock all that in, and then I can really buff that out. So right now I'm just basically laying down the color. So now what I'm doing is I'm grabbing a translucent color with a little bit of a pink undertone, and I'm basically coming in with a really fluffy brush, and I'm just basically setting all that concealer down so that I can come in with some eyeshadow and start to build the eye shape. I'm using this palette from Miko Haratunian, and I'm gonna grab this yellowy shade right here. I'm gonna create a little bit of brightness in this area. Now that I've done that, I'm gonna pack it in the inner part of her eye. And then I'm gonna apply it on the brow bone. So now I'm gonna grab the shade number 12, which is kind of like a transition color. I'm gonna lift her eye a little just because I wanna make sure that I really get this color in the eye socket. Basically, a transition color is a color that helps to create a gradient. So you can either do a transition color prior to applying the colors that you want to be a little bit more defined, or you can apply the deeper colors first and then come in with a transition color and use that to blur out and buff out any like lines and edges. Transition colors tend to be more neutral colors. Either neutrals or pastel colors are really good for transitions. So now that I've mapped out where I want to lay the light and the darkness of the eye shape, I'm grabbing the shade MN11 and I'm grabbing this Morphe M514 brush. A little bit more a tightly packed bristle brush with a blended kind of dome edge. I'm basically gonna start creating like a crease in this area. I'm gonna focus it mostly on the inner part of the crease. I'm not gonna drag it all the way out. Basically, this is gonna create like a little bit of depth in her crease, and it's gonna make the lighter colors that I put on the brow bone and the eyelid pop more. Right now, I'm going for more of a diffused line. After I've done this, I'm gonna come in with a little bit more of a precise brush to really define the curved crease effect. Now I'm just gonna pull the color out a little bit, tugging on her skin a little just so I make sure the skin is nice and taut. What this does sometimes, it just allows the skin to be fully flat and be able to blend the color a little bit more seamlessly. Color again from the inner part of the tear duct, and I'm gonna pull it into the crease.
Did we meet on Model Mayhem?
Girl, there used to be the grinder of models.
I'm done. He's not lying. Oh my god.
That was like the way you found like creatives back then. Like,
right. Wait. Does Model Mayhem still exist?
I think it does.
Okay, you guys, let's look it up. You guys.
It still does.
It has the same banner, the same everything.
Wow.
Wait, am I still on it?
Wow, what a throwback.
So photographers used to have these like group shoots where there would be like 10 photographers and like a bunch of models at a park. And like an orgy. I know, it's so crazy. And it was usually in Orange County, which I don't know why. But that's how models met photographers, were in these group photo shoots.
Wow.
I never did that.
That's good.
Experience the trauma of...
Yeah, of like shooting in a park where there's a baseball game for 5-year-olds and you're in a bikini.
So I'm using this Brownie Taupey shade MN8. I'm using this as like a transition color to blur out those lines.
Remember we did a sauna shoot?
A sauna shoot?
Yeah, I was in the sauna in full glam.
Who was that crazy photographer that made us do that?
Oh no! It's an apartment that had a sauna in it, and I was just
What was the point
sweating.
of that? To make you look hot?
I don't know, but we did it.
I'm sorry.
No way. Doing stuff like that builds character.
Yeah, you like...
You appreciate how far you've come.
Exactly.
Also, it makes you laugh.
Yeah.
Because we would never do that now.
No.
Exactly.
But I'm curious what the sauna concept was about.
I'm gonna try and find the pictures. They have to be on like my old laptop.
I'm gonna open up her eyes a little bit and just brighten everything. So I'm gonna use the shades MN2 and MN1. And I'm gonna start building the color right in here in the tear duct. What this does is just opens the eye up and separates everything. Or about a crease, but not all the way. I'm just gonna stay like right in the inner part. And I'm using those colors because the other one has a pinky undertone. Really helps with like brightening and kind of neutralizing. So really opens up the eye and the color, and it kind of cancels out any like darker undertones. Dolce and Gabbana. Now, how beautiful is that palette though? Picking up a little bit of this soft pink color. I'm just gonna basically focus the color on the outer part of her crease.
So question, if you weren't doing makeup, what would you be doing?
I would be a stripper.
Stop.
Word.
Maybe like an interior designer.
Oh, dope.
Or a fashion designer. I think I still have fashion designer in me. I just have to like, that was actually what I was originally supposed to do because when I was in high school, I had got scholarships for fashion school. So now I'm gonna start defining her eye shape and I'm gonna kind of do like an eyeliner look. I'm gonna use this Inglot number 77 liner. I'm just pack it into the bristles first to make sure I get a nice and even application. So basically I'm just lining her lash line and I want to create like a little bit of a flick. Back then they didn't make the flick too long, so when I was in beauty school they had these old school like makeup application books from like the 60s and the 70s, and they would be doing their eyeliner with like a Q-tip and like they would be using baby powder to like set their foundation, which is crazy.
It's not very good for you.
I know. Keeping the outer flick thicker because they tended to do a wider, thicker flick. It was like the vibe back then. Now it's like the modern eyeliner is like super thin on the outer part for that snatch effect. Now what I'm doing is I'm basically lifting her eyelashes and I'm really packing the black into the inner part of the lash line just to completely darken that area and make sure that everything looks nice and dark. Okay, now I'm going to lift a little and I'm just going to do the same thing where I'm packing all the color into the lash line and the inner part of her. I did eyeliner so many times when I was completely terrified. Like I used to do this with Ariana Grande and she's known for that liner.
Oh, I know, I love her eyeliner.
And I was never really good at eyeliner before that. But when I worked with her, obviously I had to like be good at it. So I like practice and practice and practice. And when you're doing it, I think under pressure, for me as a pro, like I just mastered it. But for girls that are obviously like don't do it, I always say pick a day where you're not trying to get ready to go somewhere.
Right.
And practice it. Like if you're doing it like maybe like for New Year's, like do it a couple days before New Year's and just take like some time out to really like play with it. So that way the day of you feel more confident, like you know where you messed up, you know, whatever it is that you probably are dealing with, you'll kind of be prepared.
I love that.
I always say too, like, have a little micellar water. Water goes a long way to like play with eyeliner.
Yes, and also the pointed tip Q-tip.
Oh my god, the skinnier the better.
Yes.
Like if you use the fluffy one,
Oof.
it's too wide, so it does like kind of get in the way and it starts to like move too much product around. But the pointy ones are the best. They're like the skinnier. I think you can get them like on Amazon.
Oh yeah, no, those you can get super precise and like right there in the corner.
Yeah, and get up in there. My other technique that I like to do is I'll like to clean it up a little bit with concealer.
Smart.
Or like foundation, like if you use the exact same color. Sometimes people think you have to use a lighter concealer, but what that does is just only highlights that area. So you want it to be too much lighter, you want to be the exact color of your foundation, because then it kind of tricks the eye into thinking that it's just cleaned up edge opposed to like highlighted edge. So now what I'm doing is I'm grabbing a very skinny Q-tip, which is what we were talking about earlier. And I'm just, see it's like super pointy and skinny. And I'm just dipping it in some micellar water. I don't want it to be too juicy, so I'm taking a little bit off. But I just want enough just to pull off the product from underneath. Then I'm just dragging it and it gives me like the most crisp line. Drag this Q-tip right along the liner, clean edge.
So while you're doing this, would you prefer me to keep my eye open or closed?
I think open.
Open.
Yeah, because it helps me see how it's going. Close is more like if you want to see how the angle of the wing is going. So sometimes like you can make the wing go more straight out, or I'm almost making your eye like a little bedroomy, like not sleepy, but that era like everybody wanted to make their eyes feel like a little like bedroomy. Like. Now I'm curling her lashes. I'm starting to prepare the eye for mascara, and I'm using this Choice Syrah eyelash curler, which I love because it's super flat. It just really lets me get up in there. They had done a autopsy on this lady. They had to go in her head for some reason.
Took her balls off?
Yeah, her eyeballs out. And I guess they found like so much eyeliner like gunked back in the back of her eyeballs.
Ew, what?
I know, isn't that crazy?
No.
I don't know if it's a real thing, but somebody told me they were like, yeah.
We gotta Google that.
Now I'm using this Miko Haratunian brush in the number MH11. And I'm grabbing this like bronzy tone from the Makeup by Mario Master Max palette. And I'm just gonna basically pack it like right by the lash line. So now I'm putting a little mascara on and I'm gonna use the new Dose of Colors. It's so good.
It's called So
Beginning of it.
Just say it. There you go.
Now I'm gonna put a little white eyeliner in her waterline. Basically doing this just to open up her eyes and give you that like dreamy bedroom eye look, which was very popular in that era. Now that I've done the white, I wanna make sure that I cover the little spots that I created with the liner. Just very lightly come in here with the brown. From here, I'm gonna come in and very strategically paint the lash on the bottom. And I'm gonna focus the product mostly at the root. And I'm gonna just wiggle it, create like this like wispy bottom lash effect. I don't always go with mascara ones in the bottom lashes because I feel like sometimes you apply the product too quickly on the middle of the lash and not the root. And the goal is to kind of make the lash look thick from root to tip. So now I'm gonna add a lash, and I sometimes like to do the eyelashes and the eye first, and then I'll come back and just add details just where I feel like I might need to add a little bit more darkness, or if I want to put more mascara. Kind of finesse the eye a little bit, and I can tell that I do want to go a little bit deeper with the crease. I'm gonna apply the lash in the style Celestial. So I already trimmed them a little bit. I cut up a little bit off the edge just because I wanted to fit them to her eyes and I don't want it to be too long. So I cut off maybe about 2 clusters off the end. This is what the lash looks like, kind of like tapered out, but it also curls up. So now I'm just deepening the crease a little bit more. I want to add a little bit more depth to the inner part of her crease. And what I'm doing is I'm just basically detailing that crease that we made earlier. Teasing y'all a new product that I'm working on. I'm super excited about.
It's like a peachy salmon.
It's like a between. I did want a pinky peach. I do like a peach, but I feel like just the in-between. Like if I were to mix two, this is basically what it like became. I'm using this Carly Bible palette. This is like a matte and a shimmery like pearl with a little bit of gold in it. I'm gonna mix them together. I'm gonna grab my lip liner in the shade Transfigure. Start building for Cupid's bow. I'm gonna overline a little bit. Not too much because Audrey's hips were not like super fine or like super big, but because I am gonna come in with like a very light nude colors. Back then the colors that were popular for lips were like pastel-y, frosty pink colors. I just want to create a little bit of background and definition. So I'm going to line the bottom. I'm going to really go lower here. Then I'm going to just start pinching it up. So I'm not going to go on the ear part super low because I don't want to make her lip line look a little droopier. Shape it in here. I need a little bit more definition here. There. I'm going to just add a little bit more down here. Only just because I want to add some contrast when I come in with the lipstick. And you might recognize Nazanin She actually was the face of the collection.
That shoot was so amazing.
It was so fun.
Oh my god.
That was the shoot of my dreams for that collection. It really was. So I still want the pink hue in there, but I want to add Hallelujah just to kind of tone the middle of it down so it still feels a little pouty and ombre. So now I'm putting the Hallelujah shade.
It just sounds like luxury.
It's like ka-ching!
Exactly.
Right in the middle, ombreing these colors. And I just lightened it just a little bit. Like I'm not trying to change it too much, but I feel like this is closer to the color that, what's her name? Calissa Flockhart?
Hi, I'm Rico. Today for this Audrey Hepburn inspired look on Nazanin, I did a blowout to kind of prep the hair prior to and get the hair to have the body but yet still able to be pulled back. She's very thick hair. In order to give a full elegant look while still being a simple pullback, I went in with a pigmented powder to enhance her hairline and make it match how full her hair is.
And there it is, my take on Kevyn Aucoin's iconic recreation of Audrey Hepburn. Shout out to Nazanin for being my muse today, and shout out to Rico for the hair magic. For more beauty transformations and the best insider tips, don't forget to hit subscribe. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and until next time, Howard.
Holly, I'm in love with you.
So what?
So what? So plenty. I love you. You belong to me.
No. People don't belong to people.
Of course they do.
I'm not gonna let anyone put me in a cage.
I don't want to put you in a cage. I want to love you.
It's the same thing.
No, it's not. Holly?
I'm not Holly. I'm not Lula May either. I don't know who I am.
Okay.
You need more bronzer.
Brownser. He's too white?
Yeah, he's trying to be a white lady.
I would love to. My credit score would be better. Howdy, y'all.
This ain't Texas.
They don't want to leave the throat. It's literally like the Hulk. It wants to come out. Hey everyone, it's Rokael, and joining me today is my stunning friend, Nazanin. Nazanin. I'm gonna start off with Nazanin's brow. Like my brain knows it, but my mouth is saying something else.
You know, by the end of the shoot.
Can't say my name right. We're not friends, really.
Because we've been friends for almost 2 decades.
No. Guys, I'm the worst with names. Like I don't ever pronounce them right. Sometimes-
Everyone, it's Nazanin.
All right, tell us your name. Hey, Rico, hey.